Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Pashchim LitCast. Today's podcast is going to be a mindful conversation where we explore the fusion of mythology, technology, and mindfulness with Prithvi Raj Banerjee. Based in Boston, Prithvi is a technologist, writer, and mindfulness coach. With degrees from IIT BHU and MIT, he has co-founded startups, but his true passion lies in unlocking the power of the mind. In his book Unbox, The Power of the Mindful Thinking, Prithvi introduces impactful thinking, especially for tech-savvy younger generation. His novel Chronicles of Kālī, The Secret Book of Asurs, blends mythology, fiction, adventure, and mysticism to demystify the human mind. Prithvi's initiative, Mind Gym, aims to make mindfulness accessible through mobile games and biofeedback. So join us as we explore mindfulness and technology with Prithvi Raj Banerjee. Prithvi, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Manish, inviting me to this talk. Looking forward to our conversation.
So let's start from the beginning. How a tech geek became an author? What was the inspiration behind it?
I think, Manish, it is, if I see now, right, it is a long journey, right, from the inspiration. I used to be more of a typical startup type A type of person. And I was thinking about it that you will ask this question. So I was thinking that what was the inflection point? So actually I was at MIT and a little bit of humor here. And then in the Killian's court outside MIT, right, we play the American football. And I never played football. And then I attempted playing it and I fell down and had a concussion.
Really?
And I think probably that's the concussion that led me to the author. But jokes apart, I started my spiritual journey soon after. It has been about 20 years. And I think somewhere in that journey, the inspiration of the two books came to me. I remember very well that it was the ninth day of one of the vipasana retreats. I was sitting and the entire Khali, the book Mindfulness, Unbox and Khali, it downloaded. And after that, I had to just put it to paper. And after the 6.
So I will just pause here a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about Vipassana? What is Vipassana? And is it Vipassana or Vipassana? What is the correct and what it is?
They are basically the same. Vipassana. It is what it means actually is watching. And so they have it belongs to the older style of Buddhist teaching. So there is a retreat center in Berkshire. So you have to go there and
Berkshire in Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts.
Okay.
So you have to Dhammadhara it is called. So you actually have to the most difficult part is not talk for 10 days, not make eye contact. You are on your own, meditate about 10 to 12 hours a day. And most of the people run away after 3 days. So it is supposed to be the marathon of mindful meditation, right? So around the 9th day of that, right? So this inspiration it came and very vividly the entire concept about Rakta Bija and Khali. It was very, very funny that it is a Buddhist retreat, and I get that visions of from Khali.
We will get to Khali and we will get to mythology. One thing which struck me the most, that an author, a writer, a thinker, an activist behind this technological entrepreneur. That personality was always there since your childhood when we were talking, and I wanted to know that journey, like how a young man from Banaras, from a typical Bengali household, that author Prithvi came into existence. What was the whole process behind it?
Sure, absolutely. See, it is a long and arduous journey that you have also written books. It's not that simple. For me, and I think everybody has their own journey. I was lucky enough to have guides and teachers. So one of my schoolmates, she's a best-selling author in Penguin, Rachna Bhisht Rawat. She has written 7 books, so she has been one of my go-to person to in terms of do's and don'ts of writing. And I started off with writing blogs. So when the inspiration starts, I started a blog. I maintained it for about 2.5 years. Polished my craft in terms of being able to convey an idea in in like 600-700 words. And then I took the challenge of going for the 60,000 words limit.
Oh, wow.
So 60,000, which would be a full base novel. And as you know, like you have to do multiple writing and rewriting. Writing a manuscript is the starting point, right? So if to answer you concisely for like folks who are looking forward to publishing, I'll say start writing. Don't wait for the novel. Just start writing. Start on blogs, short articles, stories. Make it crisp. And the things, there are a lot of books available, right? How do you make that craft better, right? How do you make the characters come alive in a story? How do you describe about the smells, taste, sounds, so that you can give an immersive experience to the user, right? And most of all, keep yourself hidden. Keep the writer hidden in the story. Your protagonist lives, but writer should not.
So what, one of the most wonderful things about our podcasts is that you not only, you learn about the author's journey and the book itself, but you also get these, nuances and these teachings for budding authors, how to tackle those challenges in bringing the book on table itself. So that's very insightful.
Thank you.
So Prithvi, come to the next segment, right? Let us take to your first book, Unbox. Let me have this book. And this is Unbox. Prithvi has authored 2 books. Unbox, which is a non-fiction mindfulness. It trains you on mindfulness.
It's almost like a manual.
So this is a manual of mindfulness, the power of mindful thinking. And the other book is which we are going to talk about. It's a novel, Chronicles of Kālī, the secret book of Asurs. So, Prithvi, let me take our listeners and our people who are watching us on YouTube, what Unbox is and what it unboxes from a person like me or a person like whoever is watching it.
Yeah, that is my favorite question, actually, right? So, and if you see this book, right, it has kids and all. It is written for kids. So as you know, like I run a nonprofit to promote mindfulness among kids and young adults. So since 2017, it has been like more than 6 years now. So we follow the curriculum in this Unbox. What basically this is that it is a consolidation of all effective mindfulness techniques across ages. So it has mindfulness techniques that are not borrowed. We have actually acknowledged and used it directly. None of these techniques is something that I or anybody else in the organization has invented. So you have yogic techniques, Buddhist techniques, you have vipasana techniques, you have Sufi techniques, you have techniques that have worked throughout the ages and packaged in a way that young adults can understand, kids and young adults can understand. So like breathing exercises, what is the concept behind meditation? It talks about neuroscience, the neuroscience impacts of meditation, so that we are not stuffing something on the kids, but we stroke their curiosity so they know what is the science behind those techniques.
So basically how I understood is when I was reading this book, in a very concise way, in one line, if I say so. If people talk about, okay, meditation, do meditation, dhyan lagao, these things. But this book tells you how to meditate. What are key aspects of, if somebody who is completely, unaware of, anything, how to go about meditation. This book is the guide. But I also want you to give a little bit finding the anchor. What is these anchors and how these anchors help you in the meditation process?
Sure, absolutely. What exactly is behind the meditation techniques? So everybody knows here, right? So in fact, if you take even step back, like in Hindi, we call it dhyan se padho, dhyan lagao. Or in English, we say pay attention, but nobody actually teaches you how to pay attention.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the mission of MindGem, is to teach kids how to pay attention. And essentially what we do is there's a mix of breathing techniques. So the breathing techniques, if you take like deep breaths, belly breaths, it actually it massages, or it actually stimulates your vagus nerve. and vagus nerve, and it is a scientific fact. And because of that, your thought activity comes down. And it has been an old technique. You know that in yoga we say that, okay, there are multiple breathing techniques, but this is how it actually impacts your thoughts. Why thoughts? That is the most important thing. Thoughts is the number one reason of our, I'm looking for the right word here. I don't want to use misery. All our dissatisfactions. And a lot of people, I found out, a lot of people don't know that there's not only one type of thought in our head. There are actually two types of thoughts. One is when we think and focus problem solving, like when you're doing 2 + 2 = 4, it's a different type of thought. When you are solving some problem for your office, it is a different type of thought. Yeah, actually you're focused. You are just, there's no emotion there. And the second type of thought is mental chatter. It is like what I did in the yesterday, what am I going to do tomorrow, am I looking like, all that stuff. So scientists found out this mental chatter is because of a specific node in our brain called default mode network. And there are some techniques to calm down the default mode network, which like people from India know as meditation techniques. And then dissecting the meditation techniques more, because generally these techniques are available in different pockets. You'll have different houses having their own flavor of meditations. We went right to the source and found out that the most effective techniques, including the one that was used by Buddha, right? They actually use what you just said as something as an anchor. So you take an anchor like your breath as an anchor. You take your attention back to the anchor from any distraction. So you basically keep on, say this is a distraction thought that is coming and then I'm talking to you. What I do is that I take my attention back to my breath. So when I take my attention back to the breath, I can only pay attention to one thing at a time. So this goes down. It may come up again. So I take it back to my breath again. And I can, if I do it in silence, morning, evening, 20 minutes, I get the muscles to not getting entangled with these distractions. That is as simple as that.
Wow. And we always thought, when somebody is closing eyes and, deep breathing it, but the thoughts are going all over the places. Dhyan kare to kaise kare? I'm closing my eyes and I'm getting all these thoughts. I'm trying to control, but I cannot.
You cannot control.
I cannot control. The trainer there, what he told, that when you close your eyes, if you get some pictures, forming, it can be God, it can be anything. Just focus slowly on that picture, how that picture is forming, and then, what you're seeing when you close your eyes. And then slowly you will see that your brain is not wandering off. It's not going here and there. It's actually focusing. And then slowly you can start focusing on your breathing pattern. I attended your workshop. I was like, oh my God, this is what I learned like 20 years ago and I forgot. These things not everyone will know, or not everyone will get it from somewhere unless you are doing some typical Vipassana tour in India. But here, just talking to you, going to your website, attending one of your talks, or just read the book. Read the book.
And in fact, there's some science behind that also. So that is what I tried to portray here, right? So there were a lot of resources. There's a book of Floke from Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi. They talk about what attention really means, and essentially, like me, I'm coming from an engineering background. Most of us, and we can understand this, but make it simple for the audience here. So there's only limited attention that we have, and in terms of information, it is 128 bits of information that we can pay. And if we scatter that attention in 5 different things, we are not doing the best. So the idea is how can we take this 128 bits and focus, to your point, when whoever recommended you that, okay, focus on that one image. So you're actually putting 128 bits on that image. So there's nothing left for these thoughts.
Wow, that's amazing.
Right. So that is the idea, but you have to practice. So like just knowing the technique is not going to help, right? Everybody knows that push-up, if I do push-up, I'll get my biceps, but knowing it is not building my biceps. Yeah. So you have to sit morning, evening, 20 minutes. And those are the things we do. And one more thing I wanted to mention, like obviously coming from MIT, I had to do something crazy a little bit. So so this other problem that was there was no tool available that would tell somebody whether he or she is meditating properly or not, especially young kids. So what we did was created an application that actually measures the EEG, which is your brain waves, and it will actually correlate. You should not look at it while you are meditating, but after you have meditated, it will tell you whether you had mental chatter, whether you will be able to focus your attention on your anchor or not, so that the teacher or the instructor can make suitable adjustments. So those are the small things we have done, and I think we have done now hundreds of these workshops across the world in COVID. And as you said, right, even if one kid at a time, we can make an impact at them, our work is done.
I think I can do a separate episode on mindfulness and meditation and dhyan and vipassana. But now let's get to one of the best books, which involves fiction, mythology. I would say the mixture of modern era and mythology and science. This is an amazing book, and I think this book was conceptualized because of your practice in mindfulness and what actually mindfulness is. This is not just a fiction novel. This is also a teaching in lot many ways. Let's start how this book came into existence and what was the inspiration behind it.
Yeah, so thanks for those kind words, and I think, as you rightly said, this book, for me, you say that by teaching you learn, right? So the teachings that I have gotten everywhere, I wanted to share with the folks in a nice story, which has. So I thought that we don't have an Avengers type of characters in India. So if you see, Khali is the type of Avenger type of superhuman character, superhuman person. She's a teenager, and the inspiration of Khali, you briefly mentioned, right? I grew up in Agra as a non-resident Bengali, and our family used to participate and actually organize some of the Durga Puja, Kali Pujas, and the Kali's murti actually used to be in my study room. So and I have devotion for her, and I think I told you in Vipassana the story downloaded. And what is it about? It is about a simple secret. It is a secret of Kali, and secret of Kali is so simple that you just mentioned. I just told you about it, about the anchoring, right? But if you think about the mythology, they talked about. You all have heard about Rakta Bija, that Kali. There was demons where each drop it fell into the ground, sprouted more demons. So they are like our thoughts. Like each thought actually engenders multiple thoughts, and we are not able to take care of that. And because of that, we end up doing all those mischiefs and being miserable and dissatisfied. So what Kali did, it actually licked up the source of all those thoughts, right? And essentially, those things won't come at all. So if I did some deep research on the Shaktic techniques and all, and basically what it is pointing out to meditation. And so I wanted to simplify. That is the basic stuff. But the context of this book is even a step beyond that, right? So why there is so much confusion in this world? Why there is so much of tension between religions, right? These are all like big things, obviously. So kids obviously won't be. So I had to make it easy enough for kids and adults. So the context is that what if this all the tensions of what we call it in Sanskrit, we call it avidya, which is ignorance. So all the dynamics of ignorance that has been flowing across century, if it is personified by a asur is a person nothing but who is not in surs.
Yeah.
And this character is one of the characters here, and the other person is this young girl Kali, which is the symbol of empowered youth, I'll say, and specifically women. And what if we have these two characters fighting it out, and Kali, this is beyond Kal, and this guy is Bakasur is also immortal. So we don't have the time dimension. You can move around in time, right? But the fight is happening in present, right? Taking the learnings and settings of the future, the past, and the real characters in our mythology, in from American history, So I tried that blend, and then that is basically, and you have read the book here, right? So I don't want to give away too much.
It spans from 500 BC. It spans from 500 BC to current modern time, from ancient Banaras to current Banaras and LA. And also those stories are also going in parallel. So you can imagine a lot of sci-fi. You can imagine a lot of those flavors in this book, which will hook you to this book, and you will only keep it after finishing it. And that's what I did. This book can perfectly be a movie or a series. We also would touch a little bit about the process which we already started at, several years ago. It's not easy. We started writing the script on this book. Another thing I wanted to talk about here, Prithvi, is, this is the book. The Book of Asurs. This book talks about the Book of Asurs. What next? What happens after that?
That is a good question. That I think before I go to that because I want to go to that one regarding the screenplay, and you touched about it. Screenplay is a totally different game, right? So what I was saying that, as you said correctly, that writing screenplay is a totally different art again, right? And we did a little bit, tried out a few chapters, right? And I'm actually happy to share with you that I have been actually working on the screenplay the last 1 year.
Oh, nice.
Right. So, in fact, the second part of this book, this comes to your question, what comes next? I'm trying to directly use a screenplay format to come to the screenplay directly. Essentially, this book has a broader framework. It actually draws upon inspiration from a lot of so to say, mythological and non-mythological characters from India, and then the key protagonist is Khali, that we all know. It's a roop of Shakti. So in fact, there out of the 8 different ways Shaktis manifest, the 3 of them are very well known. Is Kali, Tara, and Tripura Sundari, and those are the inspirations behind the 3 characters I have, which is Kali, Tara, and Tripura Sundari is Patricia, right? So, and why them? Because I think that this is the age in which women have to play a bigger role in actually freeing up the humanity from the thoughts, because I think they are more able to do this because they are more detached than their other half. Better or worse, I don't know, but so that is one thing. And that second piece is around the other characters, which I have taken inspiration from what you call the Chiranjeevis. So they are immortals. And my interpretation is that these characters it's more like a metaphor of qualities that are immortal, right? So we talk about who are the immortals, right? We talk about Parshuram. He's the activist. Parshuram is the activist. He doesn't like bad guys. He'll go and kill those guys. And he did it like multiple times, but these guys keep on coming back. And that actually shows that activism has to be balanced. You cannot just go after bad or good and say, I will just get the world rid of bad, because bad is always relative, right? So you have to think before that. There's one character who actually is Percy. Parshuram. Then the king of Asurs is basically another immortal. It's called Mahabali. We know him. Most of us know from Vishnu Puran that this guy was the king of Asurs, and then one day Vishnu came and as a Brahman, and he said that
Mahabali, you're talking about
Mahabali, right? So he's inspiration behind this, and it has been told because he's very popular. Mahabali character is very popular in Jainism, even in Buddhism. In one of the sutras, it has been said that there was a discourse in Mahabali, and somebody predicted that one day Mahabali will get enlightened and take Asurs to liberation. So you have read the book, so you can see what the inspiration behind this is, right? So you have Mahabali, you have Parshuram, and then Vyasa. Vyasa is the eternal, so to say, teacher,
mentor,
and wise person. Like we have Vedvyas, who actually wrote basically. So let's say analyzed and dissected the Vedas and Mahabharata, and obviously anybody who has written anything, they actually write by the name of Vyasa. Mm-hmm. So that is that Vyasa. We have a Vyasa also in this book. So you can see all these things sprinkled around from India and from US. I am a big fan of the transcendental movement, which is, I think, the beginning of the real, so to say, transcendental thought in America. It started right here in Concord, right? So so Thoreau.
Henry David Thoreau.
Yeah, Henry David Thoreau. So you'll see Thoreau also featuring in this book. So for the readers, I think it is a very exciting thing. All the, so to say, the spiritual heavyweights, you'll be able to spot them here and there, and they all come with some messages which can be delivered in an entertaining way, so to say.
And believe me, the way Prithvi has depicted or kind of elaborated on their characteristics, the way he brings Vyasa, the way he brings Khali, the main protagonist, the way he brings Percy and Patricia is amazing. And the whole narrative of that bull in Banaras, that was amazing. And I was literally blown away that how can someone conceive these things from mythology into fiction and bring it such a great flavor for a reader. You can actually visualize, and that was the main inspiration behind me coming to you saying, Prithvi, I want to write start the screenplay on this, because I could actually see, and it's amazing. And congratulations to you that you actually continued, and you are from 1 year you have been working on that script, and I cannot wait to see myself. And I wish that it comes to in a form of a motion picture sooner or later.
I'm sure that we'll be collaborating on that.
Absolutely. I mean, anytime. I would love to be part of this. So we talked about this book. And so is there a sequel or a prequel, or can you touch a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the sequel is about Kali's mother, Tara. And it's called The Jewel of the Immortal. And it is inspired by yet, obviously, maybe the biggest heavyweight in mindfulness, which is Buddha. Mm-hmm. And so essentially, the story utilizes some of the settings in Kosala in 500 BC, and did a lot of research there. So the forest of Kosala, where Angulimal used to be there. Mm-hmm. So again, without giving up too much, but imagine these like wild animal filled forest where the Tara is stranded, mm-hmm. and where the bandit Angulimal actually goes around chopping people's fingers, mm-hmm. and then the backdrop of Buddha also there, right? So, and obviously for the readers, I think everybody knows that I told you that time travel, it apparently in my universe is something Asurs can do.
Yeah, exactly. And this book talks about multiverse. Yep. The things are happening in two different eras parallelly, and there's a lot of interesting thing. Again, I cannot thank you enough for bringing mindfulness here among the NRIs, bringing these two wonderful books. I will put a link on our YouTube channel in the description. You can directly go on Amazon and buy these books. So, Prithvi, it was really nice talking to you.
But it was a pleasure talking to you. Thanks a lot for inviting me for this wonderful conversation.
I would want you to read a little bit, probably one para from the book.
Okay, so what I'll do is that I'll read a story that is within this novel. So the setting goes something like this. Patricia has come looking for the secret of thoughts, and Vyas is the master who she contacts in Banaras. Vyas is not interested in teaching her. She basically he's testing her out. And what he says was that I will tell you one story every day. And if you are able to answer my question after the story, I will tell you the secrets. So this is the first story that Vyas tells Patricia. I think the readers may find it interesting. So let's start with the first story. Vyas's long hair fell on his shoulders and fluttered gently in the morning breeze. Can I hear it too? Kali suddenly popped her head from behind the banyan tree. Of course, come and sit next to me. The master lips spread into a wide smile. The lord of the fish was revered in the ocean kingdom, which was the only place on earth that was teeming with life. Mastendra ruled over the watery realm that engulfed the earth. He had everything that one could ask for. The best coral artisans of the kingdom had built his palace. The grand palace was gilded with shining pearls from master oysters. Famed seaweed designers made its ornate curtains. The palace had an invigorating water flow infused with the fragrance of fresh sea lichens. He had several queens who would admire him, looking from their coral coves, grateful about their good fortune. And then one day he had a doubt that he was missing out on something. The doubt had come suddenly, lingered for a few days and years. Is there more than life than just eating fungus, flapping gills, and fertilizing eggs on limestone bins? He asked his vice minister. No, the minister replied immediately. He was part of a lineage of 272 generations of ministers of the royal court who had been trained for this day. The only thing that you need to look out for is for these questions. Is there anything else more than this in this life? He had been drilled by generations of his tutors, his father in this case. The answer is always no. The reaction should be as spontaneous as the shiver of the dorsal fins because of the change of the water current. His father had then packed up a broken shell and etched a mark on his son's head. No, just like that mark he had received in legacy from his own father. No, the minister replied. Oh, Mastendra, he added with a generous dash of practiced politeness. Mastendra, despite the passionate warning of his minister, flapped his fins and swam out of the palace. He then swam out into the open ocean from the comfort of the currents he was familiar with. Unknown to him, several other fish had set out on similar journey from different nooks of the ocean. Over the years, this fleet of fish started looking different. Their fins had become thick and webbed, and they had grown a shell on their back. Then one day, Mastendra found a magical place. As the ocean water became increasingly bright, his fins grazed over a hard ground, and he hesitated for a brief moment before sticking his head out of the water into warm air. It was a whole new magical place out here. He pulled out of the water and took a deep breath, filling himself with warm air. He never knew that something like this had existed when he was in water. He walked along the coast as the wind blew against his face. The suns, the cloud, the blue sky all seemed so magnificent. He then noticed another amphibian wading along the shallow water of the sandy coast, hesitant to lift its head above the water. Don't hesitate, Mastendra called out to the new breakaway. You are just a step away. How is it there? The breakaway asked cautiously. I cannot describe what is here using the language we use there in the ocean, Mastendra smiled. You will need to experience yourself and find out.
So see you next time with another guest, another author. Till then, please take care of yourself. And if you like the show, please share this with your friends and family. Subscribe us on YouTube. Listen to us on various podcasting platforms. Thank you. Namaste. Bye-bye.